Imagine standing in front of the mirror, knowing exactly what you need to do today, and watching yourself break your own promise again. What if your biggest enemy isn't the temptation, the distraction, or the difficult task itself, but the weak, negotiable rules you've set for yourself? We've all made those quiet promises. I'll wake up early. I'll finish that project. I'll eat better. I'll finally stay consistent. And yet, we still hit snooze. We still put things off. We think we lack motivation. But maybe motivation isn't the problem. Maybe the problem is that our rules are optional. What if there was a mental framework so solid that feelings, cravings, and fatigue lost their power over you? A blueprint for unstoppable discipline that's not about hype or emotion, but logic. This idea comes from a quiet philosopher named Immanuel Kant, whose approach to decision-making has become one of the most powerful models for mental strength ever written. And today, we're translating that 18th century wisdom into a modern strategy for unshakable willpower. Most people think willpower means fighting a battle. It's you versus the cookie, you versus the alarm, you versus the scroll. We imagine discipline as gritting our teeth until temptation breaks. But that approach burns out fast. You see someone like David Goggins and think, he's just built different. But no one is born disciplined. Discipline is designed. The truth, willpower isn't a battle, it's a skill. When you see willpower as a limited resource, something that runs out after a hard day, you give yourself permission to quit. You say, I'm too tired, I've done enough, I'll start again tomorrow. That mindset quietly teaches your brain that effort is conditional, that rules bend when you're uncomfortable. But imagine if willpower worked like breathing, automatic, trained, dependable. Not a fight you keep losing, but a system you keep strengthening. Mini Summary 1. Willpower collapses when it's emotional. It grows when it's structural. Reflection 1. How many of your daily choices rely on how you feel instead of what you've decided? And before we move forward, if this perspective on willpower is already shifting how you think, take a second to subscribe. This channel is all about mastering your mind and building that steady, unshakable strength we all need to thrive. Immanuel Kant lived an ordinary life in the Prussian city of Königsberg, yet his routine was legendary. For over 40 years, he woke at 5 a.m., wrote for 3 hours, lectured for 4, ate his single daily meal, and took the same 3:30 p.m. walk so precisely that neighbors joked they could set their clocks by him. That consistency wasn't obsession, it was liberation. By designing a rigid structure, Kant removed thousands of micro-decisions that drain willpower. His mind was free for what mattered. He saw 2 ways humans act: inclination and duty. Inclination is when you act because you feel like it, for comfort or pleasure. Duty is when you act because you decided it's right, regardless of mood. Kant argued that only actions done from duty build true integrity. If you're honest only when it benefits you, that's inclination. If you're honest because honesty is your rule, that's duty. Applied to willpower, this means stop chasing motivation and start building rules. Don't rely on wanting to work out. Rely on being the kind of person who works out. Kant wasn't enslaved by his schedule, he was freed by it. Structure didn't shrink his life, it gave it power. Mini Summary 2. Discipline isn't restriction. It's freedom earned through structure. Reflection 2. What would your life feel like if every important decision was already made by principle, not by emotion? An imperative is just a command. Most of us live by hypothetical imperatives. If I want X, then I must Y. If I want abs, I must work out. If I want money, I must work hard. But these are negotiable. They depend on wanting something. Kant's categorical imperative is different. It says, act only according to a rule you would want to become a universal law. In plain English, before you act, ask, would I want this rule to define me every time? Let's make it practical. You hit snooze. Your inner rule is, when I feel tired, it's okay to break my word to myself. Would you want that rule to be universal in your life? Of course not. Or you open social media instead of working. Rule, when I'm overwhelmed, I escape into distraction. Would you want that to be your automatic law? Every small choice writes a line in the constitution of your character. When you act from inclination, you let feelings legislate your future. When you act from duty, you become the lawmaker of your own mind. So the next time you face a decision, pause and ask, what rule am I writing right now? And would I be proud to live by it forever? This single question transforms willpower from resisting temptation to creating identity. You stop asking, do I feel like it? And start asking, who am I choosing to be? Mini summary 3. Every decision is a vote for the person you will become. Reflection 3. What laws are you unconsciously writing for yourself each day? And are they laws of progress or excuses? You've just learned the philosophical foundation of willpower. It's not a battle of strength, but a system of laws. Discipline isn't a mood, it's a choice repeated until it becomes identity. Kant couldn't have known the inner workings of your brain, yet modern neuroscience now confirms what he intuited centuries ago. Researchers like Dr. Andrew Huberman have identified a small region deep inside your brain called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex. Think of it as your brain's willpower center. The AMCC activates whenever you do something difficult, especially when you don't feel like it. It lights up when you resist the snooze button, finish that workout, or focus through fatigue. And here's the key: it grows stronger through use. Neural imaging shows that people who consistently choose hard actions, athletes, disciplined performers, even successful dieters, develop a larger and more active AMCC. This isn't metaphorical growth, it's physical change. Your brain literally rewires itself to make effort feel easier the next time. So when Kant said we should act from duty, he was unknowingly describing the perfect neurological workout. Every time you choose principle over comfort, you strengthen the circuitry of self-control. It's like adding another rep to the barbell of your mind. When you avoid difficulty, those circuits weaken. When you face difficulty, they adapt. That moment of resistance, the internal friction before you act, is not a signal to stop. It's proof that the growth switch is on. Mini summary 4. Discomfort is not your enemy. It's the training ground of the brain. Reflection 4. What challenge in your life could become your gym for mental strength instead of a reason to quit? If this connection between ancient philosophy and modern neuroscience is opening new doors for you, subscribe and tap the bell right now. Every week we explore evidence-based tools that help you strengthen discipline, build resilience, and find inner peace through self-mastery. And if you know someone who's struggling to stay consistent, share this with them. Sometimes one shift in perspective changes everything. Understanding the philosophy and the science is powerful, but application is where transformation happens. Here's a 3-step process you can start today. Step 1. Define your law. Stop saying, "I'll try." Replace it with, "I will." Vague desires create vague results. A law is clear and binary. You did it or you didn't. Examples. I write for 30 minutes every morning before checking my phone. I finish every workout I start. I do not break my promises to myself. Write one rule that, if followed daily, would shift your life's momentum. This is your personal constitution. The goal is not perfection, it's consistency. Micro takeaway. Discipline begins when the rule becomes non-negotiable. Step 2. Run the universal test. Each time temptation appears, ask, if I turn this moment into a rule, would I want to live by it forever? Thinking of skipping the gym? The rule would become, when I'm tired, I skip commitments. Thinking of delaying work? When it's uncomfortable, I procrastinate. These laws compound. By asking this question, you move from short-term feeling to long-term vision. It reframes the decision from, do I want to who am I? Micro takeaway. You are never just making a choice. You are casting a vote for your future identity. Step 3. Log the reps. Each time you act from duty instead of emotion, mark the moment. Say it mentally. That was a rep. Because it was. You just strengthened the exact brain region responsible for willpower. By acknowledging the win, you train your brain to link discomfort with progress. You start to crave the feeling of follow-through. Over time, this rewiring creates an effortless rhythm, not because tasks get easier, but because you get stronger. Micro takeaway. What you measure, you multiply. Track your wins, not just your goals. Mini summary 5. Define your law. Test your law. Log your reps. That's how philosophy becomes biology, and how ideas turn into identity. Reflection 5. What single rule could you live by this week that would make every other decision easier or unnecessary? For centuries, we've tried to conquer willpower through motivation and emotion. Kant showed us a better way: logic, law, and self-respect. Modern science confirms it. Discipline isn't magic, it's muscle. So remember these truths. Willpower is not resistance, it's training. Discipline is not punishment, it's freedom. Every choice you make writes the law of who you are becoming. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Just start with one clear rule. Live by it for 24 hours. When resistance shows up, run the universal test. When you follow through, log the rep. That's how unstoppable willpower is built. One decision, one law, one rep at a time. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't yet, subscribe now and join our Limitless Mindset community. We're here every day building stronger minds, grounded in wisdom, discipline, and purpose. I'll see you tomorrow for your next daily boost. Until then, stay disciplined, stay grounded, and keep writing the laws that define your best self.